Redditors, who are not in love with their SOs, why are you still with them? Good question, Op. I'm in a relationship for the last 14 years, and what I have to say is, love is amorphous, it changes what it is and is hard to pinpoint sometimes. Sometimes you will be mad at each other, sometimes you will share laughter and smiles and hugs and kisses, sometimes you will be underwhelmed, sometimes you will be bored. Sometimes you will be full of pride and appreciation, other times you will take them for granted. Sometimes the sex will be great, other times samey. But life goes on. Can anyone truly say they are in love constantly and without interruption always, or is it something that ebbs and flows? I think the latter. But I am always loyal and feel allegiance to my partner and family. I always have the attitude that I am committed and we are on this journey together, and I certainly don't want to be with anyone else. So that's my 2 cents right now. I was the one super in love. I don't think he was. Once every 4 or 5 months, we'd have some sort of discussion. The last time, it was that he didn't know if what we had was love. I should have seen that as a warning. But I convinced him to stay with me after an hour discussion. I think he felt guilty. I stayed with him through suicide attempts, drug-induced psychosis, and moved countries for him. I imagine he felt an incredible amount of guilt, and stayed with me because of that. I think he cared for my well-being maybe. But he wasn't in love. And it's painfully obvious now that I'm out of the relationship. I hate this one because I can't just chalk it up to someone being a jerk. Can confirm, breakups where no one is at fault are the worst hardest. When they're an asshole, you can hate them. When you're the asshole, you probably don't care. When you both still care about each other, it just will not work. That shit takes an incredibly long amount of time to recover from and makes you question everything. Edit, thank you to all of you for letting me, and each other, know we're not alone and for sharing your stories. Also, to the people who disagreed with me, I agree that it all depends on experience. I don't mean to belittle any of your pain. I'm in this post and I don't like it. Yeah guys, stop being so relatable, damn it. My brother can't stand his wife, hasn't really been in love with her since about a year before their wedding. He talks about divorce to me when we're alone, but he'll never do it. He thinks he'll never meet anyone else being 32 with no social life. Plus there's a strong possibility she might kill herself if they broke up, or at least attempt it. So together they'll stay. I just hope they don't bring kids into it. My parents did not love each other but have stayed together because of children. My boss has been vocal about wanting to leave, but he has kids and no prenup, so he can't afford it. My cousin told me about 3 hours after he got married that he didn't want to get married, but now he was terrified he would lose his house and basically all his money, alimony plus child support, if they got divorced. I told him that he should have said something 3+ hours ago and he said he couldn't. I then asked him, if this was such a big concern to him, why he didn't get a prenup. His exact words to me were, those don't actually exist. They're just made up for movies. They've been married just over 2 years now and I'm pretty sure it's only going to end if she leaves him or one of them dies. Considering he's 26 and she's 23 or 24, it sounds like he's in for a long, miserable life. It just sort of became a habit, and when I realized I didn't have the feelings anymore, we had 2 young children and I didn't want to break up the family, and later when we tried couples therapy, this didn't change anything, but our son was diagnosed with leukemia 2 years ago, so I felt we had to stay together until he was well. My ex didn't agree and we were divorced this summer. My son is almost through the treatment and is doing fine. I have not been this happy and relaxed in years, and so far the kids 6 and 9 have coped well with me moving and when they're staying at my new place. You guys did the right thing. Much better for children to have separated, happy parents than married, miserable ones. Glad to hear you're doing well. Edit, for anyone who wants to ask for proof, please read the dozens of responses of anecdotal evidence. There are also a few scientific studies linked that show that while divorce can have negative consequences in the short term, it does not in the long term. To people saying that divorce dooms their children to the same fate, staying with someone you clearly don't love does the same thing. Obviously, divorce should be seen as a last resort. I do not know why some people are reading this and thinking I am advocating for divorce in every situation. Get therapy. Try to communicate better. But if nothing else works, it is a great last resort. I'm thankfully not in this relationship anymore, but out of fear that he'd do something to hurt himself. He threatened to do it when I first brought up that I wasn't happy in the relationship, and he became incredibly manipulative. A lot of people are stuck in a relationship for the same reason, and it's just so sad. I'm glad you could get out of it. Being in love seems like a state over which you have no control. I long ago made the decision just to love the woman who became my wife. Fortunately, she made the same decision about me. Romantic infatuation has faded, but our love for each other endures. It takes work to maintain, to avoid taking each other for granted. Love is not an emotion, it is a practice. Edit, thank you for the awards. I'm glad I could contribute to making some folks' days a little more hopeful, and perhaps inspire a bit more love in the world. I love this. I have been married for 21 years and this is true. I also think feelings of being in love can come back. For us it was a matter of our kids being older now and us finding hobbies we love doing together. Reignited that flame. I'm glad we stuck it out through the hard times. Neither of us experience attraction, but we still care deeply for each other. He's my best friend. Also, the marriage was mutually beneficial. Edit, wowza, I did not expect this to blow up, y'all literally doubled my karma lol, so thanks for all the positive support. I tried to clarify some things in the comments, but fellow A-spec people beware that the incels and gatekeepers do come out a bit. Honestly, that sounds like a good deal to me. It's a tad odd, but a marriage only works with a relationship outside of simple attraction. Loved her dog. I had 2 dogs with my ex. He was a musician with a part-time minimum wage retail job, so I paid for everything, cleaned up after the dogs, cooked for the dogs on days where he was just too damned lazy to pick up dog food. I knew I wasn't in love with him, but I loved the dogs and didn't feel capable of leaving. I finally left him when I found out he was on Tinder trying to hook up with other girls. First thing he did was post a picture on social media that I took on my camera of him with our dogs. Caption is a long-ass paragraph about difficult it is to raise 2 dogs all on his own, but has a dedicated #SingleDogDad. Wow. Just wow. You should be able to apply for joint custody frown. Oh God. I was in an abusive relationship for 4 years with someone who openly, and proudly, called himself a sociopath. He got a dog the day before we met, and I had vet bills, text messages from him saying that she was mine. 6 months after I left, he stalked me and showed up on my doorstep with a civil dispute. I went to mediation and pretrial. The judge at pretrial called me crazy, declined to give me a restraining order, police had told him to stop contacting me, showing up at my work, etc. I ended up giving her back so I didn't have to see him any longer. You'd think it'd be a black and white case. In a text message he wrote, I just called the vet and signed her over to you. Please take care of her. But nope. WTF, this is crazy? The judge sounds like an absolute cunt. I would have been shaking with anger. So sorry that happened to you. From my sill, if I leave I'm the perpetrator, breaking up a marriage, wrecking a home, etc. and hurting and humiliating my kids, my parents, my in-laws, but if I stay I'm a victim of my miserable husband, and everyone wants to help victims. Edit, thank you for the award, kind stranger. She's not wrong. I left, and I am now the bad guy and everything gets blamed on me. People can treat me however they want to, because ultimately it's my own fault for breaking up my marriage. Mostly this is my immediate family I'm talking about, and my ex. I do stand up for myself, but can't control other people. In my first relationship I thought I had scored the jackpot. I was young and he was young and jacked and smart. He overglorified himself and I just couldn't see that. I looked up to him as a god, mainly because he kept saying I was bad at my studies and cooking and basically everything that I love to do. I thought I would never get someone better, so thus I stayed. I thought I loved him, I thought that was what love was, but I was just proud that I had gotten someone so amazing. I was stupid. I had a similar situation in high school. I was stupid. Thought I was madly in love with the guy even though he repeatedly emotionally abused me. I thought I hit the jackpot because he was handsome and everyone thought he was cool. I stayed because it was the first guy to show interest in me and I had zero self-esteem. I thought if I left, nobody would want me, part of the emotional abuse. Finally left because I was the worst version of myself with him and I think he cheated on me. I even remember after we broke up we saw each other and he commented on how much I'm letting myself go because I had something in my teeth. Fast forward, I'm 4 years married to the kindest man in the world whom I'm madly in love with. Duck him, good for you. Actually don't duck him, fuck your husband.